Welcome everyone. Cannabis news with Joe Klare for May 22nd, 2018, presented of course by the Marijuana Times. Go check us out at marijuanatimes.org. Find a bunch of great articles by a lot of great writers, everything you need to know about the cannabis community, industry, and beyond. marijuanatimes.org. And if you click the video tab on marijuanatimes.org, you will find every episode and all the episodes of Cannabis news, easily shareable with your social media networks. Go check it out. You can also search the Marijuana Times on Apple Podcasts to find the audio-only version of the show. Find us on our newest platform, Vimeo, vimeo.com/Marijuana Times X. Search the Marijuana Times on Vimeo to find cannabis news. You can share the videos from there as well. And if you're on Apple Podcasts, be sure to give us a rating and a comment and all of that. All that helps helps us spread the word, the truth about cannabis with this show. Today, talking about the Philippines, someplace you do not want on your travel itinerary if you're planning on possessing drugs of any kind. Also, more about what's going on with the medical marijuana battle in Utah. It's very bizarre. It illuminated something for me that I possibly somehow didn't really fully grasp before this. We'll talk about that in a second. Also, a new poll out of Georgia shows marijuana legalization, not medical marijuana legalization, but marijuana legalization, recreational adult legalization. Well, it's getting good poll numbers in Georgia. We'll talk about all that coming up. But first, Cannabis news brought to you by naturesidecannabis.com. Check out their line of organic, all-natural pesticides. If you live in a state, you grow in a state where it's legal to be a cannabis cultivator, there's a lot of regulations you need to follow, pesticide regulations and such. Natureside can help you with that. You also don't want to use harmful chemicals on your grow. You want to grow safe and poison-free. For that, you need naturesidecannabis.com, a proud sponsor of Cannabis News. Go check them out because they are awesome. This first story, from marijuanatimes.org, written by yours truly. New Philippines corrections chief wants death penalty for all drug offenses. That's right. You heard that correctly, or if you're watching the video, you're seeing that correctly. The new Bureau of Corrections Bucor chief in the Philippines, Director General Ronald De La Rosa, he thinks lethal injection should be used for anyone involved in the drug trade, even low-level possessors. Yes, again, you heard that correctly. And even for the Philippines, that's a very extreme stance. He said, quote, everything pertaining to drugs, we have to end them. Which is, on the face of it, is a stupid statement. Human beings haven't been able to end drugs since the beginning of all time. Since the beginning of humankind, whenever we first started doing drugs, we've been doing them ever since. The notion of this guy, Director General Ronald De La Rosa, well, he knows what to do. Kill everyone. Kill everyone. Everyone who uses drugs, kill them all, and that will eliminate the drug problem. The horrific thing is, even if he actually did that, and currently, he had a weapon he built that could currently kill every single drug user in the Philippines, they would be replaced by other drug users. Anyway, he was talking about this earlier this month, asked about this earlier in May, and then they asked him to clarify, you mean even, low-level people who just possess drugs? And he said, yeah, death penalty for them too. Yeah, that's cool. He also pointed out another great thing about killing all the drug possessors. He said, who will we guard here at Building 14 if those convicted go straight to lethal injection, right? Well, can't argue with that. If you kill everyone that comes into the jail, instead of putting them into the cell, you're going to have plenty of space. There's no getting around that fact. That the math works out. You get 100 people come in, you kill all 100, there's 0 in the cells. Let me get my calculator out. Yeah, that checks out. He said you don't have to guard any more drug lords if they go straight to lethal injection. Now, of course, using this logic, you could kill anybody you don't like for doing anything you don't want them to do, and then claim that you're helping whatever problem it is that you think they have. I don't know. It doesn't seem like it doesn't seem very practical way to end something. It's like saying, I don't like Doritos, and I want everybody who eats Doritos, it's bad for them. I want them all to die. And we kill everybody who eats Doritos. Is that really the most efficient way, or the best way, or the most humane way? to approach this problem? Not really. And it goes without saying, as I said in this piece, if you plan on possessing drugs, don't go to the Philippines. Places like Malaysia, the Philippines, anywhere where you can get heavy time for possessing drugs and maybe even the death penalty, don't go there and possess drugs. Just don't. I know you say, but Philippines is beautiful this time of year. That's great. That's great. Go on YouTube and find a video that someone took at the beach on the Philippines. Sit there and smoke a joint and watch the beach scenes in the Philippines from the privacy of your own home, maybe in Colorado or California or somewhere in the United States. We're not going to get killed for having a joint on you. Crazy. These people are nuts. And they don't see the flaw in their logic at all. We'll just kill everybody. Just kill them all. And they have some coke on them. Kill them. I don't know. Like I said, stay away from the Philippines. Don't. Just. And again, as I point out in the article, that is a deterrent. I mean, it will keep some drug users out. I'm not saying that, wholesale slaughter doesn't have as deterrent effects. It certainly does. And this next story is it's weird for a couple reasons. We've been following this Utah medical marijuana story for quite a while now, several weeks, whatever it's been. Probably more several weeks, maybe several months at this point. I was aware that I'm obviously aware that there's a battle over medical marijuana. There's more than a dozen states in this country who have no kind of medical marijuana program at all. No dispensaries, no home grow, no whole plant, anything. Nothing. Well over a dozen states that have no kind of decent medical marijuana program whatsoever. So there's obviously still opposition to medical marijuana. It mainly takes the form of old politicians who want more research on marijuana or want to be FDA approved before they vote on it as a medicine, or they want to see what the federal government's going to do because they worry about the federal government coming down on their state. Whatever the reason that these old politicians have for being against medical marijuana, that's one thing. But I was unaware that there was, in a place like Utah, obviously there's active vitriolic opposition, bordering on hate when it comes to medical marijuana. This next story is from Fox13Now.com. Medical marijuana backers in Utah accuse opponents of trying to turn in removal signatures after hours. We talked about the group that was trying to get people who put their signatures on the medical marijuana ballot petition to take their names off of the petition. As I pointed out before, they're actively trying to get people to take their names off of a petition that would allow people to choose whether or not sick people would have the choice of medical marijuana. They're not even trying to stop medical marijuana per se. They're trying to stop a vote on medical marijuana so that people who might want to try medical marijuana and use it with the help of their doctor, they won't even get that choice. They're spending money and actively trying to shut this down. Well, if that's not enough, sponsors of the medical marijuana ballot initiative have accused their opponents of trying to turn in requests to remove signatures after hours. The Utah Patients Coalition said representatives of the Utah Medical Association tried to turn in signatures at both the Davis County Clerk Curtis Koch's office, or Koch's office, and home. Fox 13 had a news camera that captured some of the people outside his office late Monday, May 15th, was a deadline for opponents of a ballot initiative to submit applications to remove signatures from citizen petitions. Trying to get people to take their signatures off of a medical marijuana ballot initiative. However, Koch told reporters and medical marijuana supporters who confronted him outside his office that he refused to accept any signature removal forms after business hours. He told Fox 13 on Tuesday he was not making any special accommodation for anyone, but simply working late at his office. Koch said he saw a face staring in his office window at 10:45 p.m., startling him, and he called the police. Well, that is best disconcerting if you paint the mental picture in your head. He said when he walked outside the building to go home, he was confronted by medical cannabis initiative supporters. They started quizzing me and making innuendo that something nefarious was going on. I was annoyed my integrity was being called into question. So not only are the opponents trying to turn in these signature removal packets after hours, but then supporters show up and they're accusing this guy because he stayed late to work. God forbid someone should stay late and put a little work in. That's not the way we do things anymore. So So they start getting on him, acting like he's doing something wrong when he's just doing his job. He's literally just working late doing his job. To prove to them he worked late, he put his wife on the phone. He had to call his wife to tell these weird people who were thinking he's doing something nefarious with the medical marijuana ballot initiative that he's just working late and to go away. This is how crazy things have gotten in Utah. We're talking about medical marijuana. We're not talking about recreational. We're not talking about adult use. We're talking about sick people having the choice, with their doctor's recommendation, no less, to use medical marijuana for their ailment. That's all we're talking about. Something that should have been settled a long time ago, but not in Utah. Coach said his wife, when he got her on the phone, told him there were opponents of the ballot initiative at his house. So supporters were at his office grilling him. Opponents went to his house to try to drop off packets. He said, I was annoyed someone would go to his house, my house. Well, yeah, I would be too. He said when he got home, someone had dropped off signature rescission packets. He took them to the office and stamped them received. Past the deadline, he said he contacted the people who submitted them and informed them they were too late. At this point, both sides exhibited poor judgment, Koch said. Yes, well, that is definitely true. DJ Shands, who is running the Utah effort for medical marijuana, he said, we thought it was weird they were out still trying to rescind signatures. He said he raced to the county clerk's office upon hearing the crowd gathering there around 10 p.m. There's a lot of strange coincidences. We're just glad things are being followed through properly and that these rescission letters more than likely would not be accepted since they weren't in at the close of the office time. The group against this, trying to remove the signatures, said, nothing in the statute says anything about business hours, so, he was right to turn them in late. It's nuts. It's nuts. We're talking about people having the choice with their doctor to use medical marijuana. And this is a kind of active battle that it's causing in Utah. Very, very bizarre things going on. Again, I was not aware that there were places where there was active, hostile, and extremely active opposition to medical marijuana. That's how I thought it was these old politicians who were saying, oh, it's not FDA approved, and, I'm worried about Jeff Sessions, and we'll wait, for more research, and so on and so forth. I thought that was the level of the main opposition, but these people are serious. They're paying people $25 an hour on average to go to people's houses who would sign the petition to try to get them and convince them to take their signature off the petition, just so voters wouldn't have a choice on whether or not to allow sick people a choice of medical cannabis. I don't know. I've been enlightened to the level of hostility in some places to medical marijuana. It's crazy. You people need to calm down, get a hobby, play a game, do something, get a job. I don't know, something. They're at this man's house at 10 o'clock at night, trying to stop people from having the choice of medical marijuana, or trying to stop people from voting on whether people have the choice of medical marijuana. It's an uncanny. What's the word I'm looking for? It's a disconcerting level of activity against sick people having medicine that they choose. Very weird. This last story, better news. Out of Georgia, most Georgians say recreational marijuana should be legal. Support for legalization has grown over the years in Georgia. Most voters in Georgia now say that marijuana should be legal for recreational purposes. According to an exclusive poll commissioned by 11 Alive News and conducted by Survey USA. There you see the numbers. Question was, should the use of marijuana for recreational use by adults in Georgia remain against the law, or should it be legalized? Now keep in mind, we're talking about Georgia, heart of the Bible Belt, heart of the Southeast, heart of the GOP country. 55% say it should be legalized versus only 35% who say it should remain against the law, and 10% who are not sure. That's an amazing number. I mean, I'll just say it. For some place like Georgia, 55 to 35% for marijuana, recreational, adult use marijuana in the South. That's incredible. Absolutely incredible. 2 years ago, 48% said legalizing recreational marijuana. Well, they supported it. At the time, the opposition was 38. So 2 years ago, it was 48-38, a 10-point spread. Now it's 55-35, a 20-point spread. Voters also overwhelmingly support the idea of state-regulated cultivation of marijuana in order to produce legal medical cannabis oil. 71% said they'd be in favor in that. And only 16% said they don't support state-regulated cultivation. And 12% said they weren't sure. They go to medical marijuana is a slow expansion in Georgia. They have a CBD law down there that covers about 15 medical conditions. But again, we're not talking about medical marijuana. We're talking about recreational adult use marijuana, a 20-point spread in Georgia. That is very impressive, and hopefully it spurs activists down there to go for it. Go. I mean, I don't know what the deal is down there with the legislature and whether they can get a petition on the ballot or any of that. If it's one of the states where you can't get a petition directly to the ballot, you have to go through the state legislature. Whatever the case is, this activist in Georgia should be buoyed, if you will, by these poll numbers. It's incredible stuff. That's going to do it for Cannabis News for May 22nd, 2018. Again, check us out on marijuanatimes.org. Click that video tab on there. Get the shows. Check us out on vimeo.com/marijuanatimesx. Search the Marijuana Times on Vimeo. Search us on Apple Podcasts as well. Facebook. All that stuff. Cannabis News. Help us spread the truth about cannabis. Like, share, comment on the videos. All of that stuff. And we'll see you tomorrow here on Cannabis News. Oh, thank you, by the way, to naturesidecannabis.com. Proud sponsor of the show, organic, all natural pesticides. naturesidecannabis.com. We'll see you tomorrow, everybody.